Imagine walking through a bustling marketplace in early 1900s New York. Vendors shout, customers haggle. Behind the chaos, invisible forces sculpt prices, jobs, and opportunity. Thomas Sowell invites you here to the very heart of economics, not with graphs or jargon, but with stories and plain truths. What if understanding our economy could be as clear as a chat with a friend at the bar? Let's pull back the curtain on how economic basics shape your world. Most folks think economics is a tangle of math and confusing terms. But Sowell flips the script, showing how basic economic ideas play out everywhere, even in your daily life. Sowell opens with the story of Zimbabwe's hyperinflation in the 2000s. When money becomes worthless overnight, the scarcity of real goods explodes. People weren't choosing luxury cars or tech gadgets, they were scrambling for basics like bread and fuel. It's a raw snapshot of how scarcity forces decisions, often brutal but always real. Think of prices like the blinking lights on an old dashboard. When the price of coffee rises, that light is telling farmers, hey, produce more, and signaling buyers, maybe try tea today. Prices balance supply and demand naturally, no central planner needed, just the quiet coordination of countless decisions. Trade isn't just a fancy global deal. It's your morning coffee from Brazil and your phone made in China. Sowell explains how every trade involves specialization. When a Kenyan farmer focuses on coffee while a German engineer builds cars, both sides get better stuff without extra work. It's the secret handshake that grows economies silently every day. Sowell dives into the messy tangle where government meets big business. Forget simplistic good cop, bad cop ideas. This chapter cracks open the real game behind the scenes. Sowell tells the story of Alcoa, once so dominant it controlled almost the entire American aluminum industry. People saw a monopoly, but it was also spurring huge investments and steady jobs during the mid-1900s, showing how corporations can drive growth even when power seems overwhelming. Lobbying often gets a bad rap, but it's really just businesses explaining their stakes to policymakers. Sowell compares it to talking with your landlord. Sometimes you push for repairs, sometimes for rent cuts. It never goes away because interests are always clashing and silence is worse than speaking up. Governments have the power to build roads, schools, and enforce contracts, the bedrock for business. But Sowell warns about overreach. Too many regulations can stifle innovation and trap economies in slow lanes. The trick is balancing protection with freedom, a tightrope walk few master. Sowell revisits Adam Smith's famous idea, the invisible hand, but not as a magic wand. It's a subtle force, not always perfect, but astonishingly powerful in shaping markets and societies. In a classic example, Sowell shares how a baker, butcher, and brewer, each pursuing their own profit, unknowingly provide a town with food and drink. They don't set out to help neighbors, but the invisible hand nudges them to meet demand efficiently, creating a thriving community without central commands. Sometimes the results surprise everyone. Sowell points to price controls on rent in New York City, intended to help tenants but ended up causing shortages and crumbling buildings. The invisible hand responds through unexpected consequences, teaching us that intentions don't equal outcomes. Markets reward businesses that find better ways to save money or innovate. Sowell highlights Toyota's rise with lean manufacturing, cutting waste and speeding production, unseen by customers but driving superior cars at lower costs. Efficiency's quiet triumph transforms industries over time. Remember that noisy New York marketplace we started with? Now you see it's more than chaos. It's the grand interplay of scarcity, power, and invisible forces you get to decode. Sowell's Basic Economics hands you the keys to this world without all the noise and nonsense. Next time prices shift or policies change, pause and ask, what's really driving this? Try spotting the invisible hand in your daily life. It's surprisingly fun. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.